Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So first of all, I must correct something. It's not orgasm, it's orgasms. We don't do singular. We want to have loads of them. And why do we want to have loads of them? Because they give you life, you know. I was talking with Esther Perel, and she said something amazing. She said there are two types of people, those who are alive and those who aren't dead. And I thought that was very clever, and I would never steal that because she said it. But orgasms make you alive. They are life-giving. And nature's given women lots of advantages over men, but definitely multiple orgasms are one of them. But why should we have orgasms? What is so important? Well, first of all, orgasms slow down aging powerfully. They can actually make you younger. Why would that be? Well, the animal kingdom, they only mate to procreate. They don't really mate for pleasure. We all know that animals come on heat, and if you have a cat, or all these other cats turn up and they start wailing, because animals only mate to procreate. They go on heat once a year, and that's when they do it. The rest of the time, they're not interested. If a lion traps a lioness and she's not on heat, they don't even mate, they just leave. If they have cubs, they will actually kill them to bring her into heat, because they don't mate unless they can make offspring. And we have a primitive brain. You know, we think we're so evolved and so modern, but we're not really. We've got a very primitive brain that has a belief. You're having sex, you must be going to make a baby. It doesn't matter if you're 50 or 60, you're clearly doing this to make a baby. So if you're going to make a baby, I need to keep you young and healthy. And so every time you orgasm, you make something called NK, natural killer cells. They fight cancer, they fight aging, they keep you young, because your primitive brain's like, you're making a baby. Well, you're going to get out of bed to look after that baby. So the more you have sex as you age, the more you will fight aging, fight depression, fight illness. There's many reasons we should have orgasms, so I'll list them. If you want to be younger, when my clients say, I don't have time for sex. Well, you know, what do you do? Well, I'm getting ready, and I'm patting on the little oils. I'm doing my primer and my serum and my creams. Like, no, just go and have an orgasm. That will actually slow down aging. You have 16 layers of skin. That serum's not going anywhere. But an orgasm, get into bed and have an orgasm, even if it's with yourself. It's quicker than putting all those primers on. It's way cheaper, and it penetrates way better than those primers. They don't really. You know, you have 16 layers of skin. There's no way you can get to those 16 layers. But orgasms slow down aging for a very good reason. Nature believes you're making a baby, and it wants you to be young and fit to look after that baby. It fights cancer. I was a patron for a long time of a breast cancer charity, to go to all these events, and I'd say to all the doctors, do you tell women that orgasm fights cancer? They said, no, but you can. Why don't you tell? So I'd tell all of them. You know, and it's also great pain control. When you're in pain, you've got a headache. I know some women say, I can't have sex, I've got a headache. It's like, no, if you have sex, you won't have a headache. If I ever had to say to my husband, I've got a headache, come over here, because it's the best pain control you can have. Say that again? Yeah, well, you know what to do. So it has so many great things. So it fights aging, fights cancer and many, many other illnesses. It's a natural painkiller. You create oxytocin, which is a powerful bonding hormone. So it's an interesting thing that men believe they need to have sex to be connected and to be intimate, and women believe they need intimacy to have sex. But I've had many male clients who say, I was seeing this person. I wasn't really into them at the sex. Oh, my God. But then I suddenly formed a bond with them because we were having so much sex. So nature has all these strange disconnects. Men need sex to be intimate. Women need intimacy to have sex. Not all women, not all men. There's always some people who go, no, I'm not like that at all. But it's incredibly bonding. And so there are so many reasons that you should have orgasms. And they aren't all because, well, I'm with someone and they expect it. But it is a great truth that if you can keep your sexual desire going and keep having orgasms, it will do so much for you. And of course, in a relationship, it's the one thing you do that's really special. Sex changes your brain chemistry and it bonds you to someone powerfully. So why are we not having all these amazing orgasms? You know, what's going on? Apparently we now have less sex than our grandmothers. Isn't that amazing? It's true. Women are going to have IVF because they don't have time for sex. I'm like, what do you mean? You're getting in a car, driving to a clinic, lying in a bed, and so someone's injecting stuff into you, and then you go, because you haven't got time to have sex. And no disrespect to the guys here, but the average man takes 4.5 minutes. So it's like, how can you not have 4.5 minutes or 20 minutes? But we are actually having less and less sex. And a lot of that is because we believe we're too busy, we've got so much going on, we've got all these lists to do, and sex becomes, it's another thing, I'll leave that until later. I think also for women, the media's done a terrible job for women, and every year we have a new body part to hate. First of all, we had to have the thigh gap, which men hate that. Men love thighs that rub together. One of my dearest friends said to me, when I met my wife, he said she was walking down the store, her thighs rubbed together. He said she stole a bar of candy. I thought, that's a woman for me? And he said, I was obsessed with her. I went and I said, I saw that. She went, don't tell anyone. I thought, isn't that funny that you'd never think, wow, she was shoplifting and her thighs rubbed together. And he thought that was the sexiest thing he had ever seen in his life. They're still together 35 years later, because he just loved her in sequence. And then another of my friends said, I saw my wife in the gym, and she was sweating all down her crotch, all down her legs. He said it was so hot. She was sweating in her armpits. He said, and I just had to meet that girl. Someone else said, my wife had a tattoo on her ankle. I thought, that's a girl that can take pain. I really want to get to know her. Not because he wanted to have painful sex, but it told him something, that she was strong, that she was tough, that she wasn't a wimp. But now we have all these things. We have the thigh gap. We have the bikini bridge. You know what that is? It's where your hip bones have to stick out so much. When you wear a bikini, there's a little bridge here because you've got to have a concave stomach. We have I know, it's insane, isn't it? We have the A3 challenge where you've got to your body has to fit in between. And pass me that piece of paper. And it's not that way. It's this way, this A3 challenge. I mean, it's crazy. And then we have, of course, designer vaginas. We've got having their labia snipped off, the place that's got all the great nerve endings. And people having that cut off because they want to look like a 8-year-old girl. We have, butt waxing. And it's like, wow, unless someone is down there with a torch, I mean, why bother? I mean, who's going to see that stuff? And yet, we're so preoccupied with being perfect. My grandmother had no idea what a designer vagina was. She hadn't known it was Brazilian. They just lifted up their nightie and had more sex than we have. But we're so busy doing all these things to be perfect, and then we get disappointed with our bodies. I don't have a designer vagina. I'm not I haven't had everything ripped off and waxed off, and I haven't got a thigh gap. And we're so concerned with what we look like in bed that we've forgotten that nobody cares. Nobody cares what shape your pubes are, if you've had them dyed or cut into a heart shape. Nobody cares about any of that. They care in bed about someone who's warm and enthusiastic. And I see a lot of men, too, also having butt bleaching and waxing and getting so worried about what they look like. And it's like, well, close your eyes. Turn off the lights. People want a warm, responsive body. But it's a terrible shame for women especially that we are now obsessed with the body we're presenting. And yeah, I've met many, many clients who left their model partner for someone normal. And I meet many models who say men are intimidated by me. When I take off my clothes, they start to intimidate me and belittle me and put me down because I'm so perfect. And then they spend our entire relationship worrying that I'm cheating, looking at my phone. And normal women don't have to go through that, so that's actually a very good thing. So we're not having enough sex because we don't feel desirable enough or attractive enough, and yet desire begins in the mind. I've been a therapist my entire life, and I've never stopped being amazed when people come and say, oh my God, my girlfriend is the hottest thing in the world. She's so hot, and I'm so jealous. And And eventually he sends her along for a session, and this ordinary little thing turns up. And she said, oh, I bet he's told you that I'm some kind of goddess. It's just so embarrassing. He tells everyone, and they look at me, and I can see their disappointment. Then I have women who go, oh my God, my husband, my boyfriend is so sexy. A little fat, bald guy turns up. But they believe that that's true. And I love that, because sexual attraction begins in the mind. But so does the power to orgasm. The most sexiest organ you have is your brain. It's where all the chemicals that make an orgasm begin take place. It's where everything that makes you fertile takes place. And it's very important to understand that you have lots of sexual organs, your breasts, your stomach, your butt, your vagina, your penis, but actually this is the sexiest part. And when you get that, then you can get something else too. You are responsible for your orgasms, not the other people. Say, oh, they're no good in bed. They don't know what I want. They can't quite get it right. You're not dating a psychic. Well, you might be if you're dating Marie Diamond, but most of us aren't dating a clairvoyant. And unless you can say to someone, I like that, don't like that, that's amazing, that's not my thing, it's very hard for people to know how to please you. You have to learn what turns you on, what works for you, and then take it into your relationship.